Welcome to this week's episode of the Declutter 360 podcast. I'm Lauren Diekman, a certified home organizer and mindset coach who's created this space that is dedicated to helping you unlock your potential to live an organized life once and for all. Are you ready to get organized from all angles? Let's dive in. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Declutter 360 podcast. I'm Lauren, and I'm so glad you joined me today because today I'm going to help you call out the clutter that's hiding in plain sight. Now, I know you're here listening because you have looked around your house and identified the fact that clutter exists, right? You are seeing that obvious stuff in your house that's causing clutter, that's causing you that frustration and overwhelm and anxiety and stress, all those negative impacts that obvious clutter has on you. But my friend, what if I told you that there is sneaky clutter in your home? Things that don't look like clutter, but they totally are. Okay. I'm talking about instruction manuals. I'm talking about electronics cords. Holy smokes. I'm even talking about things that you think are positive or important things to hold on to. Yes, even organizing supplies. These things are secretly taking up space. And they are taking up more space than they are saving you. So, my friend, if you have ever said to yourself, something along the lines of, well, I might need this someday, or, oh, but this was a gift, or, I'm not sure what this goes to, but what if I need it someday, right? This episode is for you, and it's for anyone in your life who you've ever heard say any of those lines or who you suspect has thought any of those things. So, my friend, this is an episode to share. If this one hits home for you, it's going to hit home for somebody else who you love and who you want to be able to release some of that overwhelm and frustration and anxiety that this clutter in plain sight is causing for you and the people that you love. So let's go ahead and dive into these surprising things, if you will, that you are likely holding on to that are quietly cluttering up your life. All right. This first one, we're going to start off right with the first one that I mentioned just a minute ago. Instruction manuals, paper clutter. We keep these things just in case we need the information. You bought that new small appliance for the kitchen, or you bought that new whatever, you fill in the blank, right? That new television, that new gaming system, that new, why are all electronics things coming to mind for me today? I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about. And guess what? It's not just the manual, it's the box. How many of us tuck that box away? Well, we're going to hold on to that box for a little while. My friend, keep the information that you need. If there is a warranty, read through that warranty real quick. Take 5 minutes to sit down with the warranty, read through it, see what you need. Chances are it's like proof of purchase. So you might need a copy of your receipt. You might need like the UPC code, model number, any of that. So if you find that information on the box, you can either take a picture of it or even cut out that information off the box and staple it to the receipt. All right, and create yourself a file. If you feel the need to hold onto something physical, by all means do it, but minimize what you're holding on to. You do not need that box. You do not need that instruction manual. And here is why, my friend. Almost all manuals these days are available online. Did you know that? So when you purchase something new and it's got a manual and you're like, okay, where am I gonna keep this manual? Do I keep it with the new food processor that I purchased? Or do I have a drawer in my kitchen that stores all of the manuals? And, whatever it may be. No, 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 no. Take that manual. Again, take less than 5 minutes to sit down, grab yourself a cup of tea and do a quick Google search for that manual online. Look on the website. I guarantee 97% of the manuals you're going to be looking for, you're going to find it online. And my friend, if you can find it online, you do not need to keep it in your home. Recycle it. If you can't find it and you're worried about it, go ahead and scan it or just toss and recycle it and, maybe cross your fingers. But truly, if you need to like have that reassurance that it is available somewhere, grab that information online. Take a look and make sure that it's there if that offers you some comfort, and then allow yourself to release that. And yes, even if you're thinking now, if something had just popped in your head of, oh yeah, I've got the old manual of this tucked over here and that tucked over there, or I've got this, upper cabinet, maybe above the microwave or above the refrigerator, those notorious cabinets for clutter, right? Where I've been throwing manuals and recipes and things, and it's become a little bit of a graveyard. Go dig those out. Check a few of those online. I bet they're there. And my friends, if your item, whatever it may be, that you're holding onto a manual for is no longer in warranty, or you have found that maybe, you've gotten great use out of it, or you don't use it anymore, or you don't use it as frequently, or you wouldn't be heartbroken if it was maybe those are items to let go of too. So see if, you know, decluttering your manuals maybe helps you declutter some items at the same time. A little bit of a bonus declutter there for you. All right. Item number two, I mentioned is old electronics and cables. Okay. Every person, yes, my friends, myself included, has mystery cords hanging around the house. What is this cord to? Now, the funny thing is, again, 9 times out of 10, I can hold that cord up and show it to my 13-year-old or my 10-year-old and be like, what is this the cord to? And they know. What is it about kids that like they can remember that stuff? Their brain has the capacity for that that mine left behind decades ago. Okay. I do not have the capacity to remember what cord goes to charge my earbuds or whatever it is. So a lot of times I leave it connected to the little earbud, the little charging box. I just leave the cord connected. Otherwise, I can't figure out which cord goes to it. But if I ask my teenager, can you get me my cord for my earbuds? He can find it in 3 seconds flat. But there are some cords hanging around, and I guarantee you've got some too, that you don't know what they go to anymore. Or maybe you do know what it goes to, but it doesn't work anymore, that item. Okay, maybe it's an outdated phone or, a charger from a device long since broken, long since lost. But you're holding onto that cord because maybe I'm going to need it later. There's this fear of what happens if I get rid of this cord and then, 6 years down the line, suddenly I find the device that it goes to. I'm going to offer you a little reality check right here. If you haven't used that cord in 12 months, you probably never will. So, what you can do is take a little action step here. Grab a bin, grab a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, whatever it is that you need, okay? Go around your house and collect cords, unidentified cords, right? We don't have UFOs in our house. We have UECs, unidentified electronic cords. Okay. You're going to go around, you're going to find and gather up all these cords. And then you're going to test them. You're going to see what you can figure out. what goes with what's in good shape. We've all got that charging cord that is fraying and exposing wires and things. It's probably time to replace that, right? Test them. They don't work, or if it's something that you no longer use, donate it, recycle it. You can look into local e-waste resources that are near you. Look for an electronics recycling center. A lot of times, some of the box stores like Target, Lowe's, Home Depot, places like that will have some electronics recycling capabilities. So it can be, super easy for you to be able to drop off old cell phones, cords, things like that to get recycled, which is a really great, responsible way to get rid of these items. But if there are cords or things that that give you pause when you think about getting rid of those right now, go ahead and grab that Ziploc bag or whatever you chose to collect those cords and write the date that you are gathering up these cords on that bag, on a piece of tape, slap it on the bin, whatever it is. Okay. And then I want you to put in your calendar, whether you use a paper calendar, whether you use an electronic calendar, go 6 months down the line, 12 months down the line, put a note in your calendar. Check electronics cords. Those unidentified, check your UECs, right? Those unidentified electronic cords. And if you have not gone digging in that bag, digging in that bin, looking for one of those cords to use, then those can be recycled. They can be donated. They can leave your house and no longer be clutter. All right, let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is going to address some of those organizing supplies I mentioned earlier, right? This is kind of the twist in it all. These are things that, we've collected over time that we think we're going to use. We think these are going to be the answer. Maybe we were standing in that ridiculous checkout line at Home Goods. You know what I'm talking about. And these canisters called to you, and you thought, oh, this is the answer. I'm going to buy these. I'm going to be so organized. And guess what? They are still sitting unused on your dining room table. Did anybody just say to yourself, holy cow, get out of my house? My friend's been there, done that, right? We see there's this idea that we see this stuff, right? Other stuff that's going to help us take care of our stuff. But here's the thing, my friend, if this item isn't actively serving you in your current system, it has become clutter too. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Don't organize your clutter. Declutter first. So before you get tempted to go purchase these items to do your organization, make sure you declutter what you're hoping to organize first. That gives you a better idea of what you're actually going to keep, right? What you actually have left to organize, to create a system for. Then you can make your purchases, if they are needed at all, with intention. That helps you save money, save time, save space, save stress and anxiety and frustration, all those things, right? Declutter first, then organize. So if you're looking at organizing supplies, baskets, bins, containers, whatever it may be, that you have purchased with the intention of using to organize, but they're still just sitting around, again, give yourself a time frame, a week, a month, 3 months, whatever it is. If I haven't put these pieces into practice in my home or into use in my home in this particular amount of time, whatever feels good to you, then I'm going to donate them. I'm going to offer them to a friend. I'm going to see who else can use them. Okay? These are becoming clutter in your life. If you're not using it, it's clutter. Even when we think we have the best intentions, right? This is all sneaky clutter. This is stuff that pops up that we wouldn't even think of as being clutter, but it contributes to that, visual stimulus within your home. When it's not being used in the way it's intended and it's just sitting around, it is stimulating to you every time you see it and not in the good way, my friend. So it has become clutter and it is having a negative effect on you and your life. All right, number 4 of our 5 surprising clutter things, right? Gifts. Gifts that you feel obligated to keep. These are things people have gifted to you, given to you, that you don't love, that you don't use, but you feel guilty not keeping them. The idea of getting rid of these things that someone gifted to you brings about a lot of feelings of guilt. Here's what I want to share with you about this. Okay, this item, whatever it may be, it served its purpose when it was given to you. It brought joy to the person who gifted it. It brought joy to you in that moment in receiving it and knowing that this person thought of you and had some love for you in their heart and thought of you and thought that this is the thing for them. This is something I want to give to them. Okay. So you've got that joy on both sides. And if it is no longer bringing you joy, if that joy has not continued, then my friend, it is okay to let it go now. You can give that item new purpose when you allow it to bring joy to the next person. So whether you donate it, whether you ask around to your friends if they have any use for it, whether you put it on, one of those Facebook buy nothing groups, whether you sell it, depending on the item, if it's something that has some value, maybe you sell it to someone who then it brings them a lot of joy, not just to have the item, but to maybe feel that they got a good deal on it, right? Buying it secondhand. But then it's also serving another purpose in that it brought you a little bit of income that now you can continue some joy in your life. Maybe you use that money to take your kids to go do something fun this summer. A day at the theme park or ice cream out. It doesn't have to be anything big. It could be something simple too. But don't let that obligation or that feeling of guilt cause you to hold on to things that you no longer love, that aren't serving a purpose for you. Okay? Know that it served its purpose for you already, and now it's time for that item to serve a different purpose for someone else. All right? And last but not least, my friend, hidden clutter, sentimental placeholders, if you will. These are, things like items from an old job, things from a past relationship, some version of yourself, some past version of yourself that you've outgrown. But when you see these items, they bring up emotions in you, they bring up memories for you. And so it's something that you feel like you can't let go of. For me, I'll give you a perfect example. I'm a former teacher. I didn't teach for a long time. I was in a classroom, 4 or 5 years, but I had several totes of things when I stopped teaching that I packed up and put in my basement. And it took me almost a decade of going through those items over and over and over again and finding which things I still maybe, still had some value to me. I taught very young kiddos when I was a teacher. And so there were a lot of things that I ended up pulling out and using with my own kids. Books, math manipulatives. Oh my goodness, especially during COVID when my kids did virtual schooling. Woo! I was glad I had held on to a few of those things, but most of it was just serving as clutter. And now, here in 2025, or I guess I should say back in 23, that winter of 23, 24 was when I finally let go of the last of it. It had been about 12 years since I had had my own full-time classroom at that point. And, maybe eight-ish, 7 or 8 since I had taught summer school or had any kind of classroom situation. And it occurred to me that my kids were of a certain age. They were past the age that I taught. Nothing really held a purpose for me anymore, but to hold those memories. And I realized that I could keep those memories without keeping those items. Okay, those memories lived on with me, and it didn't require me to hold on to old things from my classroom. And that gave me so much peace to think of it in that way and be able then to pass on the remainder of my supplies to other new teachers. Okay, I found a group of folks in late spring, and hey, we're at this time, so if any former teachers are listening to this, there are new teachers getting ready to graduate who don't have much or anything for their classrooms right now. So if you are retiring or changing professions or whatever it may be, and you've got extra supplies, ooh, there's going to be a whole slew of folks out there who are about to enter the world of teaching who would be so blessed by those items. And you can keep your memories without necessarily having to keep the stuff. So here's your permission, if you need it, to go ahead and let go of those things from an old job, an old relationship, or whatever version of yourself that you've outgrown. Because if it's not something that's going to support the person who you are today or the person who you want to be tomorrow, then it's not worth holding on to. My friends, I want to encourage you now to go on a bit of a hidden clutter hunt this week. Take a look around your house. See what kind of clutter is hiding in plain sight, things that you have not previously considered clutter that are causing you to feel frustrated or overwhelmed or stressed out or bring up those anxious feelings. Let's move those items, right? Come on over and share with us in the Declutter 360 community on Facebook. That link is in the show notes if you need it. And share with us what you found. Is there something, one of the 5 items that stood out to you that you found around your house? Or maybe it's something different. For now, that's a wrap. Again, I'd love to hear if any of those items surprised you. Let us know what you're letting go of. But I want you to also remember that it's not necessarily about having less stuff. Okay, it's about keeping what actually supports the life that you have and the life that you want. Because every item you release makes more room for that simple life and brings ease and clarity and calm. Thanks for listening today. And until next time, you're going to keep what matters, let go of what doesn't, and live life organized from all angles. Thank you for tuning into the Declutter 360 podcast today. I am so grateful that you found me and that we can partner together to help you live life organized from all angles. Whether this was your first time listening or you've heard every episode, you'll want to join my email list so you don't miss a bit of the inspiration and motivation to help you stay the course in living organized. Check the show notes for the link to join, okay? And hey, if you found this episode to be particularly helpful or inspiring, I would be so honored for you to share it on socials so we can grow the impact of these messages together. Oh, thank you so much. All right, my friend, that's all for now. Tune in next week for more on the Declutter 360 podcast.